I remember the moment vividly, her laughter slicing through the quiet kitchen like glass. She leaned against the counter, her smile playful, eyes dancing with mischief. "You know," she said, tilting her head, "maybe I should just trade you for someone more exciting." I froze mid-step, my hand still on the coffee pot. The joke, I thought. It had to be a joke. But something in her tone, a flicker of seriousness beneath the humor, made my stomach knot. I laughed nervously, trying to play along. "Oh yeah. And who exactly do you have in mind?" She shrugged, brushing her hair back. "I don't know, someone who knows how to have fun," she said lightly, but her eyes lingered on mine just a second too long. That moment, fleeting, almost invisible, planted a seed of unease I couldn't shake. 4 days afterward, I noticed the small cracks. She became distracted, checking her phone more often, laughing softly at messages she didn't show me. Her work hours suddenly extended, late meetings that seemed conveniently timed. And every time I tried to ask, to probe gently, she smiled, brushed it off, told me I was overthinking. But her perfume changed, subtle and foreign, like a whisper I couldn't identify. The love I had trusted my entire life now carried an undertone of doubt. I started noticing things I'd never seen before. A text notification disappearing too quickly, a hidden screen, a slight tension in her shoulders when I entered the room. My mind spun between paranoia and instinct. I wanted to believe the joke had been just that, a harmless jest, but the quiet anxiety between us grew heavier, suffocating. Even in moments of intimacy, I felt a strange distance, as if I were staring at her through a pane of glass I couldn't break. Then it happened, the day our neighbor, Mr. Klein, stopped by unexpectedly. I was outside mowing the lawn when I saw him walking up the driveway. He smiled warmly, friendly, and I waved. She appeared behind him, smiling as usual, but this time there was an edge to her expression, subtle, fleeting. We exchanged pleasantries, and then Mr. Klein leaned in, his tone casual but firm. "You know," he said, glancing at her, "if she's willing, I could take him off your hands. He seems like a good guy, but maybe not the right one for you." Her laughter froze. The playful glint in her eyes vanished, replaced with shock, then guilt. She stammered, words failing her entirely. The silence stretched, heavy and suffocating. I felt my heart drop, the seed of unease blossoming into full-blown panic. She hadn't been joking entirely. The thought had crossed her mind. And now, with someone else confirming it, even as a casual suggestion, it became horrifyingly real. The following days were a blur. I tried to process the encounter, my mind replaying it over and over. Memories of our early years together, the nights spent talking until dawn, the small rituals that had once been so comforting, now felt tainted, fragile. I couldn't reconcile the woman I loved with the one who could even entertain such an idea. I began noticing everything differently. The way she moved, the tones in her voice, the silences that suddenly felt deliberate. One night, I found myself standing outside her bedroom door, heart pounding, listening to the faint sound of her phone vibrating against the nightstand. A message preview flashed across the screen. "Can't wait to see you again." My stomach dropped. I didn't need to see more. The implication was clear, undeniable. Betrayal had quietly crept into the life we had built together. When I confronted her, she tried to laugh it off, to turn it into a joke, to explain it away. "It wasn't serious," she said, voice trembling. "I didn't mean it, really. It was just," but the pause, the hesitation, spoke louder than words. I realized then that love alone could not erase the damage, could not rebuild trust that had been fractured by even the hint of desire elsewhere. I withdrew, walking through our home as though it belonged to someone else. The kitchen, where the first seed of doubt had been planted, felt alien. The bedroom, once a sanctuary, now carried the echoes of imagined conversations, secret glances, silent betrayals. I remembered our wedding day, the vows we had exchanged, the promises whispered in the hush of the night. And I questioned them all, wondering what had been real, what had been illusion. Days of reflection passed. I revisited our history, every laugh, every touch, every shared secret. The weight of disappointment and heartbreak pressed down on me, but beneath it, there was a strange clarity forming. I realized that trust, once broken or even endangered, cannot simply be reclaimed with words or apologies. I understood that self-respect and emotional survival mattered, that my heart, though battered, needed boundaries. Finally, I sat her down, the quiet of the living room pressing in. I laid out my observations, not accusations, just truths I could no longer ignore. Her eyes filled with tears, and for the first time in weeks, she seemed genuinely frightened, vulnerable. I never meant to hurt you, she whispered. Sometimes I feel trapped, unseen. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I listened, torn between empathy and anger, love and betrayal. Her explanations carried weight, human complexity, regret, but they could not erase the reality. The flirtation, the openness to the idea of trading me, even if only partially real, had left a wound too deep for immediate healing. I realized then that some truths, once revealed, demand consequences, reflection, and distance. The next morning, I left early, walking through the quiet streets near our home, carrying grief, heartbreak, and a burgeoning understanding. I thought about our life together, all we had shared, and the fragility of trust that I had taken for granted. I didn't hate her. I didn't even fully understand why she had entertained the thought of trading me. But I understood myself. I needed clarity, honesty, and the right to protect my heart from further erosion. When I returned, she was waiting, silent, eyes red from tears. I sat down, carefully, beside her, and said, "We need time. We need to figure out who we are without the lies, the half-truths, and the dangerous jokes that nearly destroyed us." She nodded, a fragile acceptance in her gaze, and we sat together, close but not touching, letting silence speak the truths we could not yet say aloud. The neighbor's offhand remark had been a catalyst, but it revealed the deeper fissures in our marriage, cracks that had been hiding beneath the surface, unspoken and unexamined. I realized that love, even after years, can be challenged, undermined, and even endangered by small seeds of doubt, desire, or distraction. And sometimes, the act of protecting your heart, of demanding honesty and boundaries, is the most loving thing you can do for yourself and for the person you thought you knew. She had joked about trading me, and when our neighbor's serious offer wiped her smile away, I understood the truth in a way that no words could have prepared me for. Trust is fragile, love is complex, and sometimes, survival means walking carefully through the ruins of what you once thought unbreakable. I left the room that day carrying heartbreak, but also clarity, a quiet strength forged in betrayal and reflection, knowing that love alone is never enough without honesty, respect, and the courage to face the consequences of desire.